I feel as if I'm cheating you. I don't have who certainly is not cheating you, and that's Alex Daugherty of A to Z Sports Nashville, who is getting the reputation as being perhaps the best hockey reporter in all of Music City. The Stanley Cup Playoffs begin tonight. I've talked about this. It's a trip down memory lane for me because tonight's game, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. And Alex Daugherty, I can remember when I was a kid and I used to watch hockey games on USA. They had the national contract as well as pro wrestling. That was always big, TNT and, Roddy Piper slapping out Lord Alfred Hayes and all that on a Tuesday night was also must-watch TV, as well as the hockey game and all that, often used with the announcers, the hometown announcers of the teams themselves. But that won't be the case to broadcast the hockey. But I gotta ask, Predators and Dallas Stars. Now, this series is known for its goaltending. What do you see? 7 games that go 0-0 and are decided in a shootout? I mean, that seems almost like with the goaltending that we could possibly be having here, Alex Daugherty. What do you think the odds are of that happening?
Stars come in second best defensive team in the entire league. They allowed only 200 goals all season. That's second best to the Islanders. And the Predators come in with, obviously a lot of defensive depth and arguably the best top 4 defensemen in the league. And then, of course, at this point, still a series for you. So I think it's going to come down to which team is able to break through first. I think there were some stats floating around about teams that score first in this series, obviously having a better chance at winning a game or winning the series, and I think that's going to hold true. I think you're going to see a lot of 1-0 games, 2-0 games, maybe 2-1, maybe a 3-2 game every now and then, but give me a lot of low-scoring games.
Well, I've always said that low-scoring game means close game, so I think that there could be some excitement in the series, certainly. But, I was reading what some of the writers were looking at, how the Predators can win. The Predators to go far in the playoffs. I've got Sports Illustrated out here, and at least 3 writers who are picking the Predators to go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. Why do you think the Preds have suddenly become, after such an up and down season, the shall we say, the darling of so many people in their predictions?
I think, honestly, it goes back to 2 years ago. I think when you think about what the Predators did against Chicago and sweeping them as the top seed, lost to the Penguins in the end, I think that really opened some eyes to what Nashville can do and the sort of depth that they can bring. And then I think that it would be easy to say, well, they bowed out in the second round last year, but it was a very different set of circumstances for that team. I mean, going into the playoffs, they were the President's Trophy winners, and they had a very different set of expectations. And someday about what is the difference between last year and the expectations winning team, but not nearly the expectations as last year. His repeated refrain has been, expectations are really not what matters here, that it's all about who can prepare on game 1. So, I mean, I am of the mindset, I think that this team has a different mindset going into the playoffs this year than they did last year. Just based on the attitude in the room, based on what the players are saying, coaches are saying, I think that is going to be a bigger thing. Are they ready to go on game 1? And if they are, then this team can definitely go far.
We know what we're here to do. Now let's go out and do it. The question that I ask you, though, Alex Daugherty of A to Z Sports Nashville, is this. Do they have enough scoring punch to go all the way? I mean, I'm reading how, Forsberg, Arvidsson setting the team record in goals scored, as we discussed. They could do this past weekend against, I believe, Chicago, but it's 34 goals. That's somewhat shocking. Okay, let's say they win a low-scoring series against against the Stars. It gets tougher after that. Is there enough punch?
I think that there is the talent on the team to make those waves and to get that offensive help from the second, third line. But I honestly think that it's not about the forwards in that
Well, you mentioned that third line, and then all of a sudden I think maybe that answers my question. I mean, you have Colton Sissons and now, a fresh, we presume, Austin Watson on that third line. That could actually be some hidden punch that the Preds haven't had this entire season, really, what with Watson, his suspensions and such plaguing him this year. That might be an interesting wild card. We've talked about the cohesion and the chemistry, and actually that's one of the things that Penguins-Islanders series, I think that works against the Penguins. They're still trying to figure out what you mentioned, Sissons and Watson on that third line. Yeah.
I was going to, on that front, what I was going to add was, these two teams are quite similar in a lot of ways. I think that they have a lot of similarities. I think the Predators are a better team, but they have a lot of similarities. And one of those is, the refrain for the Stars all season has been they're a one-line team. They're a very top-heavy team. They have three big offensive players: Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, and Alexander Radulov. And then after that, it drops off. Well, you can make the same argument for the Predators with Ryan Johansson, Philip Forsberg, Victor Arvidsson, and then after that, it's a drop-off. However, I think if you look at balance than the Stars do, consider this: the Predators scoring this season, like 10 or more. The Stars only have 4, and so that includes Seguin, Ben, and Radulov, and so they really have a lot less goal-scoring punch this season than the Predators do. So one key difference: Dallas Stars do have Matt Zuccarello in the lineup. He will probably start for the first time since breaking, I think it was an arm, the game that he was traded. So he came over, had a couple points, and then broke his arm and was out. So that is a guy that will definitely contribute offensively to the Stars.
We're talking to Alex Daugherty of A to Z Sports Nashville. He just gave us the top scorer for the Stars here. I want to ask you that we've mentioned PK Subban. Many feel they had seasons that, let's say, were standards. We've talked about PK Subban's lackluster plus-minus. I saw a stat you tweeted out, I think it was on Monday, that of the 4 goalies really expected to play in the series, it was Rene who had the worst GSAA. Now, for people not familiar with that stat, it's kind of like WAR in baseball, wins above replacement. This is goalie saves against average. And I've never really liked these stats because they're not, it saves. They're not, goals allowed, which is concrete. These are theoretical stats. So I've never really embraced them like some people have. Significantly less. I mean, only is, and I think a lot of people would say, well, Rene is the best goalie in the series. Do you think the Predators will try to lean on him exclusively, or will it be more of a 2-goalie system like it was against the Jets? And I didn't like that last year. So what do you think the strategy is going to be?
Boy, the goaltending matchup in this series is really fascinating because on the one hand, you have Ben Bishop, who's having a career season, albeit only 45 starts this season, but Ben Bishop's having a wonderful season, and the Dallas Stars needed that from their goaltender. And then you've got Anton Khudobin, who is their backup, who has an excellent record against the Predators. I mean, he's been. I think that the Predators would rather face Ben Bishop, who's having an excellent season this year, for the best season among these 4 goalies, because Nashville, for some reason, has had a lot of success against Bishop. I think his size and his athleticism, I think they can take advantage of that. I have backed off of my original thought about Rene and Saros. I originally thought that there was a chance Saros would start a game in the playoffs. I really don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think that the way Rene finished the season, he finished 4-0 and he had like a 940 plus save percentage. The way he finished the season, I think he starts every game. But we've already seen that Laviolette not afraid to pull him. I think if you are in a situation where you're down 2-0 or 3-0 early in the game, it's going to be some fantastic goaltending throughout this series, I think.
It's Alex talking hockey with him. All right, the playoff system, or format, if you will, it's a little bit different from the old 1-8, or certainly the system of my youth when the top 4 teams in every division made it, and a lot of deserving teams didn't make the playoffs in that old system, and a lot of undeserving teams did. Now it's the top 3 in every division, and then you've got 2 wild cards. For the Predators, this worked out real well, as much as you can when 8 teams make it. Winning the division meant something, because instead of having to play a Jets or a Blues team that could easily knock them off in the first round, one of those two teams is going to knock each other off, and you get, yes, a 7th seed in the Stars. My question is, Jets and the played actually exhausted the team, and that allowed the Golden Knights to go and play for the Stanley Cup. My question is, are you comfortable with the playoff system as we have it right now, Alex Daugherty?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. It doesn't bother me at all. I think you play who you play. Don't worry about what possible matchups you could have had if it was built a different way. Honestly, I don't really spend a whole lot of time thinking about it. I mean, if they change it, they change it. I feel about it the same way that I do about expansion. Like, it's going to happen no matter what. Whatever they expand the league to, you're going to have to play the schedules that they give you. I find the individual matchups a little bit more interesting, and instead of being stuck in that second or third spot. And in 10 years, you never. When I say we, I mean
fans,
followers of the Nashville Predators prefer to be back the old way. So it's not necessarily something that I really worry about. I guess it is what it is, I suppose.
Who's going to win a cup?
Boy, it's hard not to say Tampa at this point.
Yeah, that's who I'd take. Yeah.
They just have every piece that you could need. I mean, they've got defense, goaltending, scoring everywhere. But I also think that the rest of the league is wide open. I think it's really interesting that San Jose and Vegas have to play each other in the first round. I mean, similar to Blues and Jets, I think that you could see that one of those teams going to the Cup as well. I mean, they had to play a tough Colorado team. I don't like Pittsburgh. I really don't think Washington having to play Carolina. You never know there. If I put money down, which I don't gamble, but if I did, I'd probably put it on Tampa Bay at this point.
I agree. But the Predators are certainly a sleeper, and we shall see. Okay, it should be a competitive series against the Stars. We'll talk to you tomorrow with Brian Woodson. How's that?